Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time since we've chatted. I feel like every video I make starts just like this, and I honestly can't guarantee that there won't be another video right after this that starts the same way. I wanted to come back to YouTube because something very exciting has happened in my life, and I'm really wanting to document it for myself, but also I've been loving watching videos like this, so I wanted to join the bandwagon. If you haven't already noticed, I got engaged about a week ago. There she is. My longtime partner of 7 years proposed to me last weekend on February 21st, and I've kind of thrust myself into the throes of wedding planning. Before we even begin this video and talking about like the beginning of wedding planning and like kind of what I'm thinking, I want to say that we've already planned to have a long engagement. This has been something we've talked about for years, that we've never planned on getting engaged and then having a wedding like even in the same year. So honestly, we're looking at like a 2028 wedding, but I've been telling Faith it doesn't mean I can't window shop. I don't plan on making this like a super consistent series in the way that there's going to be like a weekly video of wedding updates, but I thought I would start now just so I can always look back on this and remember what it was like to start wedding planning and then some of my ideas as they like come to fruition. So with that being said, let's get started. So one of the first things I did for wedding planning was buy a very large notebook. This is the notebook that I decided to go for. I got this off of Amazon, and I will put it in the description just in case you guys want one too. But it's a very nice like hardcover notebook, and it also has dividers that are movable or like removable, but the dividers themselves can come out. So that's kind of what like drew me to this specific notebook, because a big notebook with like no dividers and just like a lot of pages kind of felt intimidating. But at the same time, I don't love the wedding planners that go around because some of the pages feel super unnecessary, at least to me. And I plan on some of my wedding planning being digital. Like, I understand that we're in like the digital age, so of course things like budget will be easier like in a spreadsheet, but there are just some ideas that I love to write. And if you guys have been on this channel like literally at all, especially in my high school, early college days, you know that I'm a big physical, like tangible writing person. This journal was only about $15. I didn't feel like that was terrible for all the tabbing and everything too, and it's also just a nice like hard covered notebook, so I'm very excited. I haven't actually written anything in this, but I have started the tabs that might kind of change. But I started with just the first page. I just wrote Faith and Lily's wedding planner, and then I do have my tabs already written, and I already changed 2 of them. Like, I wrote them last night and then right away was like, why did I do that? And so then I had to change them. So already running out of the little sticky labels, but the tabs that I have written are venue/vendors, guests, ceremony/reception, wedding party, and decor. The venue/vendors is one of the bigger sections because I plan on having a couple pages for venue and then hopefully just kind of putting vendors on the next like few pages. The next tab is guests, where we're gonna like kind of jot down rough estimates. Oh, sorry, this lighting is like so odd, but it's the sun is setting. So the guest tab is to kind of just go over guest list, but also that's probably where we'll draft our seating charts and things like that. So I kind of put that there. The ceremony/reception is the biggest tab because that's kind of where I want to just get all my ideas out for specific non-negotiables, like what I expect during the ceremonies, even like songs for the ceremony, songs for the reception, don't playlist for the reception, things like that. This lighting is like actually killing me. Hold on. Okay, that's not a whole lot better. There's still a strip of light, but hopefully it'll go away soon. The next section is wedding party, and honestly, this was something that Faith and I were really on the fence about initially. I've seen weddings with both, and I think they're both equally beautiful in their own ways, and also it's hard to narrow down like which people you think should stand up there with you on your big day. So I think we've kind of officially decided to have wedding parties, and I guess specifically bridal parties for both of us. And so here's where we're going to kind of write down the list of who will be part of the wedding party, and also maybe what they'll wear, what we might put in their boxes or bags to ask them, who might walk with who. If we even have them walk with someone, might just have them walk out individually during the processional and recessional. Anyway, all kinds of things like that, all wedding party things. And the last tab is decor, which is one that might end up changing because that kind of feels like that could fit into ceremony/reception. But for now it's there because I've already wasted my other tabs, so I didn't really want to have to waste any more. So those are my tabs. I kind of want to chat about just some of my initial thoughts because like I said, we've planned to have a long engagement forever. Like the last few years, we've talked about how our engagement will intentionally be long because we want to have enough money and time to host a wedding that is memorable for us. I am a teacher. I teach first grade and Faith is in pharmacy school. So if we were to have a wedding this year, we both know that it wouldn't be something either of us would love. Like we would have to settle on a lot of things because we just don't have money right now. So we've intentionally planned to get married after she's been a pharmacist for like a year, or at least half a year. So just keep that in mind. Like we know we're having a long engagement. That's not something we're settling on. That's not something that we're forced to do. Like we are very comfortable and very excited to have all this time to plan and then time and money to host. So that's just that. I just get that out there in the air. Okay, I feel like the lighting is just not as good anymore, but that's just gonna have to work. Now, I want to tell you what kind of my initial thoughts. So this is gonna be real for a second. And this is gonna be real for people who are in the same situation as Faith and I. And if you are a straight couple or you are in a straight relationship at this moment, you're not gonna understand this. And that's okay. But this is just like me being super real. There have been some venues that we've loved that we've heard will not host same-sex weddings, which is fine and that's well within their rights, but it is super frustrating because there have been a couple of venues that have been so pretty and I would love to get married at. We know based off of like social media, and we've contacted one venue that has kind of ghosted us at this point after asking if they would host a same-sex wedding. Unfortunately, we're not in the position to just pick a venue we love and then put a deposit down and like go have it there. We have to ask if they'd be willing to let us be there. And I don't know, it's like, I don't want like, it's not like a woe is me situation or like a pity party, but like truthfully, if you're not in this position, you don't understand how disheartening that is because there are just such pretty venues out there that I would love to get married in and they literally just won't let us. All that being said, we've had to kind of narrow down some of the venues that we like. And of course, venue is one of the first things we'll book, but at the same time, we have quite a bit of time until we actually just seriously start booking anything. This has become like squirrely central. I cannot find somewhere comfy to sit. Anyway, so with all that being said, venue has been a bit of a touchy subject, at least for me. Faith has been super grounding in it, which is very nice because she's kind of talked me down because I was like, can we literally get married anywhere? Like, does anyone want us to get married? Which like, of course, places will let us get married there. It's just hard when other couples get to just be like, here's the breakdown of the venues we want. And the only difference is like the budget. It's like, here's ones we want, but we haven't heard back if they'll let us like have our wedding there. Anyway, so one of the first things I want to do is go ahead and start writing a list of venues that I know we've looked at that I know we like. A couple of them, of course, we don't know if we'll get to have them there, which is, you know, that's great. But some of them I have looked up and would. So I'm gonna make a checklist, and of course I'm not gonna tell you the exact names of these places because like that's obviously like a privacy thing. The first thing I plan on doing is leaving a page in each section that is open for specific non-negotiables for Faith and I. So like for example, on this vendors and venues section, I just literally hit myself in the face. On this venue and vendors section, I'm going to leave the front page blank, and each section will be like this, where this is just gonna be a page of non-negotiables for that type or like for that category. So I'm gonna leave the first page totally blank, and Faith and I will sit down at some point and just really talk about those things and get a list going for each section. I'm going to start by just making a checklist basically of the venues that we've listed, even the ones that maybe we're not sure we get to even tour because of some of their restrictions, but we want to kind of have them down anyway. We've started a notes list together, but I'm, like I mentioned, I'm just this girl. I'm also gonna write where they are because there aren't a lot of venue options where we currently live. There are some, but not ones that we like totally love. So we are probably going to have to travel to get married. Truthfully, we are probably going to have to travel like an hour or two for our wedding and kind of just hope that other people are willing to as well. That's been really tricky too, is like narrowing down places that are not freaking barns. And if that's your vibe, that's literally so fine and great for you, but it's just not ours. So there is one venue that we really liked. Okay, when I say we, I do mean we, but I mostly mean me because I'm probably the most opinionated out of the two of us. There is one venue specifically that is in town that we did like, but I only really liked the ceremony options. I don't love the reception hall, which seems like kind of a small thing, but the vision I have for my wedding, for our wedding, is not rustic cabin. And unfortunately, that's just the way the venue that's in this town is, the one that we've looked at, and we also know that we could get married in, but I just really don't love the reception option. In terms of vibe though, we really are leaning obviously away from like rustic barn, that kind of thing. We love a really elegant modern venue. There are quite a few manors and like mansions that are super cute. They just are kind of far away, and then some of them are just truthfully out of our price range. I think we will still tour most of them just to be sure, but I do think that a lot of them, I feel like there are really two big ones that we are really, really liking right now that are in our price range, and they both just happen to be like 2 hours away. So that's just something to think about. And honestly, location may win out in the end opposed to aesthetics. I know in wedding planning, especially on a budget, you're gonna have to sacrifice things, and that's just it. So I'm prepared to do that. If the one venue that has a really fantastic ceremony option, not my favorite reception option, if that's just like in our price range and it's local for our family, then like I would like, it's like, I'll be fine. I will live. I'm not gonna care in the end, I know. So like, it's not a big deal, but that is just something I have to like think about, because I just always imagine my reception a certain way. So if I need to like rethink my ideas, that's fine. I just need to be like open to doing that. I need to look up how to spell this one, because I don't think Faith spelled it right. No, she definitely did not. She tried. It's German. So there's 8 on this list, at least to look at. So that's kind of where I'm starting, is just listing the venues that I want to look more into. I will go through probably later, like when I'm watching a movie, or I don't know, just like later when I have more time, and give each venue a page or maybe half a page, and just kind of go over like the prices, some of the amenities that are like super selling. So obviously I can go onto the websites for all this information, so I'm not going to write literally everything, but more just like a pros and cons list, like for sure price, and maybe some of the big things that are included that would be selling points, and then just some pros and cons, like maybe location, maybe a certain amenity that's like a non-negotiable for one of us. So once we have more of like a head count for guests, that'll change some things too. So things to come, but that's just like one of the first things I wanted to get done. The other thing that I'd love to do is go ahead and jot down a list of wedding party potentials. That's been kind of tricky, and I know that Faith is running into the fact that she has tons of close friends, and I'm kind of running into the issue that like I do have a lot of friends, but not a whole bunch that are super close. I think something else that's like not talked about is like trying to narrow down out of like a friend group who you would have, because I can't have like 10 bridesmaids. We had really talked about not even having bridal parties and kind of skipping the whole wedding party thing, but in the end, like I've always imagined having bridesmaids. I'm gonna leave a page for non-negotiables, but I think I'm going to jot down just some of my potential bridesmaids. I know for sure I'm going to ask my brother. There are plenty of like straight couples who do weddings and maybe switch up like men and women like in your bridal parties and stuff, or like in your wedding parties. But I don't know, I feel like it's way more common like in a same-sex couple to just have your wedding party be literally whoever you want. So I really want my brother in my bridal party like super bad, and I really would love actually for him to be my man of honor, because he is like actually my best friend, and I couldn't think of anyone else I would want to do that. So I'm gonna put MOH next to it, but it would stand for man of honor. I'm gonna jot down some of my other potential askings, and some of these are like obvious for me, and of course I'm not gonna like actually say names, but some of them I'm like still just I don't know for sure, and it kind of depends on who all Faith chooses, because that'll also affect my numbers a bit. You can always have like an uneven number, it really isn't a big deal, but if we could finagle some way to have the same amount, that would be really great. Right now in my rough guess, I have about 6 bridesmaids, so we'll kind of see what that looks like, but I wanted to jot that down before I kept forgetting my rough list, which I wouldn't like actually forget, I know these people, but yeah, I just wanted that kind of in writing, and then we'll also jot down Faith's. Let's see, I think besides that, there's really nothing I want to specifically add at this moment. Like I said, I'm gonna go through the venues and write some more details, and then guest lists will kind of happen as it happens. But I really just wanted to like come on here and document some of these first days of like initial wedding planning. And a lot of that is more just vibes, like feeling the vibes than anything. Like getting an aesthetic down, kind of feeling like what colors and how many bridesmaids, stuff like that. So that's kind of all I wanted to do today specifically. Okay, so some other things that I'm not really gonna put in here right now, but I do want to jot down later that I kind of want to like just tell you guys about, is like just some of my initial thoughts of like my dream wedding. So right off the bat, I think we're thinking of getting married in like February or March, We got engaged in February, and I've just kind of fallen in love with the month of February. It can be really cold, but it can also be really lovely outside. And obviously we can't predict that, but I think I would just be willing to have an indoor ceremony if needed. It might be a little bit chilly, but it is nearing that like late winter, early springtime. So I really love our colors to be like a fun spring garden party, which I know is a really popular color scheme, but I can see why, because it's kind of just the best of like every world. You don't have to stick to like one or two colors, you can kind of just do them all. So that's kind of the vibe I want to go for, like lots of florals, and even if they're not necessarily real, like I don't really care that much, but lots of florals, or at least florally colors, like some pinks, oranges, yellows, blues, greens. I'm not like in love with purple, but I would even maybe add purple in there. That's like a later decision to make, but that's kind of like my initial thought, is I want like a super bright spring-ish wedding, which I know is not original, but I am just so in love with the idea of that. These are just random things, but I know we're also going to go ahead and do save the dates and invites. Even if the save the date is digital, I really think the idea of a save the date is a good idea, especially if you are planning far out, and then once you have your date, just like go ahead and let people know. Even like I said, if it's digital, I do want to do a cute somehow save the date, and then for sure an official wedding invite. So like I said, we're aiming for like February, March, so I'm kind of down for an inside or outside ceremony. Ideally it would be outside ceremony, inside reception, but with the month we're looking at, it would probably be an inside ceremony, and that's like fine. I'm not totally married to either idea. I would love a cocktail hour leading into a reception, but I also know that a cocktail hour can kill a wedding. So I'm going to really be thinking about that moving forward. Pinky promise. I told my mom that because she was mortified at the idea of a cocktail hour for some reason, but I told her I would really think hard about how to make it a cocktail hour, not 2 hours, and make it like enjoyable. We've also kind of decided already that we want like a small personal cake to cut, and then some other kind of dessert to serve to our guests. These are just like random ideas. Like I just want to like get out there so you guys know the kind of vibe I'm going for. We are definitely leaning towards like a more modern, sleek, elegant style, but of course with the spring colors. So I mean, kind of whimsy, but not rustic. If that's making any sense, I don't even know. I have a Pinterest board, so the vision is there. We just got to make it happen. Oh, and I have also already planned to hire a day of coordinator. Absolutely. I mean, there are obviously plenty of other things that we've talked about and kind of decided on, but those are some of the major things that I wanted to like tell you guys so you all could kind of feel the aesthetic and the vibe that we're going for. So like I said, this wedding series is definitely going to be few and far in between. These are like the fetal thoughts of wedding planning. Nothing is set in stone, and like I mentioned, we're planning on getting married in like a couple of years. Like literally 2 years from now is kind of our ideal wedding date. Plenty of time. As we get more into it, like with touring venues and obviously like wedding dress shopping and finding Faith, like what her outfit she's gonna wear, and like our wedding parties and stuff like that, I'm hoping to kind of update you guys more. It has been so fun being in this like season to get to watch other people's videos of like how they're going about wedding planning. Everyone else seems way more in the know about wedding planning than I feel, like absolutely. But maybe this will be nice then, because I'm the only girl. I've been in 2 weddings, and they were both my brother's weddings. So like obviously I have sister-in-laws now, but I am the only girl. I have 3 brothers, and so I haven't been like the wedding planning thing. Like I have never done that. And so this is like novice wedding planning docu-series. So welcome. If you want to join, please do. I'm gonna be updating my wedding notebook a whole bunch. Like my goal is to even have like some of my initial thoughts scratched out, torn out by the end of it. Like this is just like a catch-all. I feel like I've grown up on YouTube, and not in the way that like I've posted on YouTube forever, but like I have grown up watching YouTube, and it's fun to just like see people's lives. Even if they only post like every couple of years, it's fun to just like catch up and see where they're at. So I wanted to go ahead and post something like this just to update, because if you ever watched my older videos, a lot of them are a little bit cringe, but some of them are still relevant. And I know like my coming out video is kind of a hard watch, but that's like the story of how Faith and I like met. At the time of posting that, I think we were nearing like our 1 or 2 year anniversary or something like that. And that is so crazy to me. So now we've been together for 7 years, and now we're engaged, and I am just so excited, and I can't wait to marry her. And I also kind of wanted to post this because there aren't a lot of like queer wedding planning videos, and that's so fine, and I love watching them regardless, but I kind of want to be out there for people who might be in the same position as me and like finding it hard to find a venue who will even let you be married on their grounds. Stuff like that, it just isn't as relatable when you're watching a straight wedding planning video. So I don't know, I thought I might try to like put myself out there and like be that person for other people. So I hope you kind of enjoyed this first like rough draft wedding planning video. Anyway, I think that's all. I am so excited for this and I hope that you guys are too. Even if you're just tagging along because you know me personally and you're just nosy, fantastic, welcome. Or if you're tagging along because you're like, oh my gosh, someone else is planning their wedding and they have no idea what they're talking about, also welcome. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited. For now, it's just a whole bunch of Pinterest looking and Googling venues and all that fun stuff. So thank you all for joining. I will hopefully be back sometime soon for more wedding planning updates. There's plenty of time though, so no stress there. Just excited to window shop and get some ideas and some plans. I think that's all. And my camera's dying, so perfect timing. I will chat with you guys hopefully in the future. Soon in the future. Okay, bye.